emphasized that the guerrilla tactics of the Maratha would not be suitable for the warfare in the plains of the north. Now, see, they were expert in using guerrilla tactics, but this guerrilla tactics which they were using, this was used. They could fight with the enemies by using guerrilla tactics only in the mountainous region. Okay, so guerrilla tactics was one of the kind to fight with the enemies, which was useful only in the mountainous region. So Maharji Shinde, he knew that this guerrilla tactic would not be used to fight in the areas which are plain, in the plains of north. So what he did was, see, he trained his army and modernized his new artillery under the guidance of a French military expert, de Boigny. So what he did, he trained his army, okay, his military army. What he did, he taught them new his artillery. His artillery means the new weapons which could be used to fight in the plain areas, okay, in the plains of the north. And he also asked a French military expert, that was de Boigny, to guide his army to uh, fight in the plain areas. With the help of this trained army, he subdued the Rohilas, the Jats, the Rajputs, and the Bundelas. So, after being trained from the Boigny and after learning how to fight in the plain areas, what he did, he subdued. That means he did not let the Rohilas, the Jat, the Rajput, and the Bundelas to interfere in the Maratha affairs. Okay, so in this way, this was the contribution of Maharji Shinde. Then the British began to take interest in the politics at Delhi. Now, see what happened. Now, the British started to interfere. Now, we know after the Maratha power, who had taken up the next ruler party was the British. And later on, when you all will go to the 8th standard, at that time, you all will learn how the entire 8th standard syllabus you have, how the British had controlled India and how India finally gained independence. Okay, that you all will learn when you all will go in your 8th standard. So this is the start of the British rule. Now see, in this lesson, this part, we are going to learn how the British entered into the politics of India. So the British began to take interest in the politics at Delhi when they felt that the Marathas might have become weak after the Battle of Panipat. Now, see, as soon as the Battle of Panipat had taken place, the Marathas were defeated. Everyone started to take advantage of it because they knew in their mind that Marathas have weakened. If they have lost this battle, that means they have lost a huge amount of army, military, common people. Okay, all their wealth and everything must be completely lost. So everyone wanted to take advantage of it. So even the Britishers had planned to take advantage of it because they knew that the Marathas had become weak now. So they managed to get Diwani rights of Bengal province and wanted to capture the emperor of Delhi. So what was the highlight? See now, now they wanted to capture the emperor of Delhi now. In these adverse circumstances, Maharji Shinde defeated the British and reinstated the emperor on the throne. Now, what did they do? See, the Britishers, they wanted to take away the emperorship, that is the throne of Delhi. But even here, see what Maharji Shinde did. He defeated the British. Okay, the British who had come to capture India, he defeated them, and the throne which was taken away from the emperor, that means from the Mughal emperor, Maharji Shinde, he gave the throne of Delhi back to the Mughal emperor. So now the Mughal emperor was pleased with his bravery and conferred the title of Vakili Mutlaq, that means chief agent of the emperor upon him, which meant that he had the authority of civil and military rights. Now the emperor of Delhi, he was very much impressed now because see, his throne was to be taken away by the British. But what Maharji Shinde did, he fought with the British and he gave him the throne back. So what titles he did, emperor gave him was the title of Vakile Mutlaq. Remember these names, it might come and fill in the blanks. Okay, the title of Vakile Mutlaq was given upon him, was conferred upon him. And what was meant by this title? That means all the authority about the civil and military right will be in the hands of Maharji Shinde. Due to this, the Marathas gained full control of the empire. Now they got the authority of civil and military rights. So what happened that all the control of the Delhi Empire means of the Delhi Empire. Okay, so Delhi Empire came in the hands of the Marathas. It was very difficult to save the tottering empire. Maharji managed the difficult affairs with strong determination and looked after the Delhi affairs right from 1784 to 1794. That means for 10 years, then the Marathas they looked after the Delhi affairs. That means the administration of Delhi. Then the heirs of Najib Khan responsible for the Battle of Panipat. Now see the Battle of Panipat was mm, carried out by Najib Khan, okay, was the enemy. So now from their higher heirs means now among his family. Now what happened from his family side? That means his son, his grandson. There started to be a fight between them. And why was this fight? Let's see that they were still plotting against the Marathas in Rohilkhand. That means in Rohilkhand, which we saw, which was in the Rohila Valley. Okay, so they did not, Najib Khan, they still did not leave that side. That means they were still plotting, means they were still waiting that they would get control over Rohilkhand as well. So, Najib's grandson, Ghulam Khadir, captured the Red Fort and tortured the emperor and his begums for the wealth. So, what did Najib Khan's grandson, what was his name? He was Ghulam Khadir. So he captured the Red Fort. Red Fort we know which is in Delhi, and he even tortured the emperor and his begum. That means his wife for all the wealth of Delhi. He gouged out the emperor's eye and took hold of the royal treasure. Gouged means he removed the emperor's eye. See what he did was he removed the emperor's eye and he took the royal treasure. That means all the royal wealth which the emperor had with him in the Delhi Empire. He took away all this wealth with him. In these circumstances, see, even now when all this thing happened, even here Maharji Shinde he defeated Kadir. He confiscated the wealth from him and returned it back to the empire. That means he fought with Qadir, he defeated Qadir, and whatever Qadir had taken, all the wealth, he returned. Okay, confiscated means he returned. He won against Qadir, and he returned all the wealth and gave it back to the emperor. He reinstated the emperor on the throne of Delhi, the throne of Delhi, which was taken away again. He gave the emperor that throne. Thus, Maharji recovered the Maratha prestige which was lost after the Battle of Panipat. So, all the prestige which was completely the Marathas were losing, that was gained back by Maharji Shinde. He controlled the politics of India by putting the emperor under control. Due to the family feuds amongst the Peshwas, Raghunath Rao opted to go to the British camp. Now, see, there were internal fights. Feuds mean there were internal fights between the Peshwas. That means now who is going to be the next Peshwa? Okay, that was the fight. That was the internal affair which was going on among them. So, see, what did Raghunath Rao do here? Raghunath Rao, he thought, okay, now their enemy is the British, right? So I will go and ask help from the British itself. So see, this was what he did, which went completely against their rule. So Raghunath Rao opted means he went to the British camp. He wanted to become the Peshwa with the help of the British. It was not acceptable to the Maratha statesmen. Now the Marathas, will they accept it if someone is going and taking help of the enemy in order to be the Peshwa? No, right? So what happened? This led to an inevitable conflict between the Marathas and the British. See, now the fight between the Marathas and the Britishers had begun. Inevitable means which was sure. Okay, because now the person from the Maratha family is going to the enemy and asking for help. So there is sure that there is going to be a big fight, a big battle between the two. So this was the beginning of how the Marathas and the Britishers started the fight. The conflict between the two great powers. The Marathas and the Britishers would finally decide who the ruler of India would be. Now, see, after this fight, it was sure that the one who wins the fight is going to rule India. From Mumbai, the Britishers marched on the Marathas via Borghat. Borghat is a mountain passage. So the Maratha army gathered under the leadership of Maharji Shinde. So the Marathas, who was the leader of the Marathas? It was Maharji Shinde itself. So the Marathas blocked the supply of food grains to the British using guerrilla tactics. So the food supplies, everything which was being given to the British, they had stopped this food supply. Both the armies met at Vadgaon. Vadgaon is in today's Pune Nasik highway. So the roads were the British was defeated in this battle. So see, British lost in this battle, which was taken place between the Marathas and the British, and were forced to surrender the custody of Raghunath Rao to the Marathas. That means the Marathas won in this battle, and as per their uh, they had decided that the one who wins this battle is going to rule India. So again, the Marathas won, and everything was in the hands of Marathas. But see, students, while we continue, you will see how the Marathas, how again there were many fights, and finally everything went off from the hands of the Marathas into the hand of the British. Okay, so Delhi was under the Maratha control till 1803. That means Delhi now was still under Maratha control. When we note that the British conquered India after battling with the Marathas, we understood the importance of Maharji's achievements. That means how important it was, how Maharji Shinde had fought and he kept alive the Maratha prestige. After setting in order the affairs of Delhi, Maharji came to Pune. He died at Vanewadi near Pune, where a memorial is built to him. That means finally, after giving so much contribution, after achieving so much to the Maratha power, finally he died at Vanewadi near Pune. And there a memorial, that means a statue is also built on his name. See this, you can see memorial. Okay, this is this image you can see here. It was known as, they named it as Shinde Chhatri, which is in Vanewadi, Pune. Like the Shindes, the Holkars, the Bhosles, some other prominent Marathas also rendered noteworthy service to the Maratha Raj. The navy raised by Shivaji Maharaj was strengthened by Kanoji Agre and his son Tulaji. Now we know this, we have seen when Shivaji Maharaj was alive, he had strengthened this navy. Navy means a water forefront which protects all the water borders. Okay, that means the enemy coming from the water borders. There, the navy is used to protect that. So that